the Vision with Isaac Mashman.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? Isaac Mashman here, and you are now listening to another episode of your favorite self-improvement and business podcast, Chase the Vision with Isaac Mashman. And if it's not your favorite yet, I can guarantee that pretty soon it will be. So over the past couple of months, I've had the opportunity to interview some really amazing guests, from Matt Devine of Cameo and the past band Kill Hannah to Zachary Babcock of Underdog Empowerment, who has interviewed some awesome people. And that list entirely goes on to Kenny Herzog of Entrepreneur Magazine, Alex Sanfilippo of Podmatch, and y'all, I am so grateful not only for these guests, but also for you who are listening and supporting the show. The numbers are at an all-time high, pretty much on a weekly basis now, and it's awesome to see that momentum, this momentum build up, and we have an entire encyclopedia index of awesome information that you can go back through and listen to, and that is why I really want to encourage you after this episode, not only to share this with a friend or a family member or a business partner who you also know would get value, but go and take a step back and start from episode 1 when the show was something entirely different. You will see the progression, you will see the growth. And I haven't talked about this openly, but my podcast is almost a series of my thoughts and a series of my, observations regarding business and in my experience. And I'm taking you guys along with me. I'm taking you guys along with. And a couple years from now, the podcast is going to sound entirely different. It's going to have the same name most likely, but it's going to show my evolution. It's going to show my process. And I know that you guys who are truly interested in this process are going to really appreciate it. So without further ado, let's talk about the ones who stick with it. The people who stay with their business, stay with their passion, their project, their ambition, their career. Now, I do a lot of research finding competitive websites that I can get my clients listed on, that I can get my company listed on, that I can get, myself listed on, covering a variety of topics from, quotes to podcasts to business listings to agency directories to all these different things. That's how I've really been able to take up a lot of digital real estate. And as I do research, a lot of times I come across articles or I come across websites or projects that are no longer in existence, but their website is still up. I'd honestly say that out of all the research I do, 70% of the sites are useless. 70% of the sites have nothing to do with what I'm doing, or 70% of the sites are inactive or don't allow for guest submissions. But today, I'm not talking about the ones that are maybe not aligning with the brand or the ones that don't accept submissions. I'm here to talk about the sites that are inactive. Now, for example, I was going across and I found a site today that was doing some really awesome interviews with entrepreneurs, and it dropped off in 2020. It dropped off, at the beginning of the year. I imagine the pandemic hit and people were like, I'm no longer prioritizing this. I'm gonna redirect my focus. And I don't know what's going on in your individual lives. I don't know what's going on in their lives. I don't know what's, happening in their, personal families and their households, none of the above, or even if, God forbid, they're still alive or in a healthy condition to record it. Some people might need to take leave for mental health, but I'm more so talking about the people who are 100% physically, mentally, and emotionally capable of performing to a higher standard, of performing to a higher degree. Now, I look back over the past couple of years, and I've touched on this many times before, that making a decision is the one thing that will help you stand out amongst the rest and really help drive your success forward. But if I was to go and talk about that a little bit deeper, what does making a decision look like? It means to go all in. And I was having a recent conversation with a family member, and I'm telling him, I'm like, man, you just need to go all in. Don't pay attention to anybody else. Don't wait until the time is right. Start now. Go all in and have no other. This is it. This is the only option. That is the mentality that will get you the best results. It's also one of the riskiest, but one of the most enjoyable in my opinions. And anyways, what is the differentiating factor between the ultra successful or the successful and the normal person who has a dream or a passion, yet they don't achieve it, right? The other day I was on a podcast and I'm talking to the guy, and it's actually coming out probably in the next couple of weeks. It's with a guy named Antoine Dupree. And we're talking and I'm saying, man, this is something people need to understand. Chances are they're not going to achieve their goals. They will not become successful. And here's why. because they did not make the decision to go all in. And he looked at me and he's like, whoa, like he didn't expect me to say that, because normally you want to speak in a sense of, energy and optimism, and you want to speak in a high vibrational tone of you will make it happen. But that's all too much what we've been hearing online, in the media, in social media lately. It's like everybody's going to become successful. And that's a bunch of bullshit, because chances are 90% of these people or 98% of these people are going to be living mediocre lives and lowering their goals and making these excuses as to why their goals are smaller and lower than their original ones that they set, because they're not as happy. And it's not because they're less happy. They're learning to be happy with less success. Play that back. These people are learning to be happy with less success. It doesn't mean that they are as happy. I think more so they're settling for less happiness to match the lower degree of their success. It's a very radical viewpoint, but if your gut instinct is telling you to go all in with something and you want to be at a particular level, not out of a place of ego, but out of a place of pure desire, then why are you going to push your desire the other way and sacrifice it? Now, there are circumstances that can be out of your control, but if you're not staying true to it, then you will not hit those massive marks. And so to circle way back to my original point, the people who go all in with it, right? The people who make the decision to stick with it are the ones who are going to see that success. And now imagine these interviews and these articles. If they already put in a couple years worth of work and they're seeing a little bit of success, it's not to the level that they want, but they've already interviewed some of these higher caliber individuals. They might have already serviced a couple dozen clients over the span of a couple of years, and they decide to call it quits because they're not hitting six figures, or they're not at that 7-figure mark or multiple 6-figure mark, or their streams aren't in the thousands like they really wish. Then that means that they are so close away from hitting that diamond mine, from hitting that gold mine. And now this is talked about in Russell Conwell's Acre of Diamonds and Earl Nightingale's audio rendition coverage of it. It's like the Acre of Diamonds is right there in front of you. It's in your mind. It is within arm's reach. And most times people quit right before they hit success. They are like, man, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. This is not worth my time. Yet if they were to stay with it, hypothetically speaking, for a couple of more months or maybe another year, that is when the largest opportunity would happen. My podcast had relatively low numbers up until 2021, when I started promoting it and really getting serious about who I'm having on and what content I'm producing, and started developing that consistent scheduling schedule. And you guys are starting to demonstrate that you pay attention to it. And now my numbers have spiked and are continuously growing up, like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. And that's not by chance or circumstance. That's because I've been doing things that are pushing me forward and thinking outside of the box. I'm not okay, or I was not okay, and I'm actually still not okay with where my numbers are at. So instead, I'm thinking of ways that I could expand my brand, get more people on, work with more people, and have even a more high quality message. But I am sticking with it. I'm not saying that, my podcast is only getting a couple streams or a couple hundred streams and man, I'm done. Fun fact, most podcasts don't get past the 20th episode. Most podcasts don't get past maybe 7 to 20 streams per episode. And you could very well be listening and be one of these people that I'm talking about. And I'm here to tell you that if this is something you want to do, then you need to come into it with a long play mentality. Aggressive patience is what you need to develop. It's not saying patience that this is going to take forever and I'm going to lay off the gas, but aggressive patience is understanding it's going to take a while, so that is why you're applying more pressure to it. Don't give up, don't stop, keep working at it. If you've already devoted 6 months out of the year to doing 20 different episodes, then why not devote another 6 months and get to 40 or get to 50? And, maybe be a little bit more aggressive with your schedule. Be more aggressive with your content until you start seeing that momentum happen. If you don't put in the time and you don't devote the energy, then how do you expect that momentum and compound effect to occur, right? Energy is neither created nor destroyed, going into a, more of a physics kind of conversation, but even going and talking about quantum physics and the law of attraction, energy attracts like energy. And so if you're not giving out enough, how do you expect to attract enough, right? And that is a direct correlation to the efforts and the actions that you devote. outside of the podcast, we could talk about clients. You might only land a couple clients your first year because you don't know what you're doing, right? You might be a little bit unprofessional. Your marketing methods and strategy might be lacking. You might not have a very firm package. You might not have a really clear service model or business model. And so you're not seeing those massive results. And instead of going and fixing these areas of weakness and strengthening them, you call it quits and think that the business isn't working and the business model is failing you. It's not that the business model is failing you, it's that you're failing yourself. And that is a harsh reality. And I'm here to tell you that instead of blaming your outside circumstances or thinking that something is just automatically not working, reevaluate it and ask yourself if you're doing something that it might need to be changed. If maybe you're not going at it as hard as you need to be going at it. A lot of times, man, the entrepreneurs have to spend years and years and years to get that momentum. Warren Buffett, if you look at the amount of wealth he developed, I believe like the first 30, 40 years of his life of investing, he might have only been worth like a couple $1,000,000. And it wasn't until he was in his 50s that he started hitting the $1 billion mark, right? Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, you need to read his book, Made in America. He's literally giving you the secret sauce of how he built the machine known as Walmart. And when he was on his deathbed, right before it, because he was, battling cancer and he was already an older gentleman, and he's like, man, I'm not going to make it through. He put together this book. And he highlights how he started out with one grocery store, and it took him a couple of years to get to the second grocery store. And then from there, how he built into the third and the fourth and the fifth, and then that momentum happened. Success comes in cycles. This is something I've noticed and I've seen with myself and a lot of other people, is you don't have this consistent level of success. When you're starting out, you'll have moments that are extremely high and you're vibrating super, super high. And then you'll have days and moments and even months where you're going to be more in a valley, right? Peaks and valleys kind of conversation. Now, those valleys are the things that you need to go ahead and work on eliminating. They're bound to happen, but your response to being in that hole, right? Are you staying there, or are you calling it quits, or are you climbing yourself back up? And then eventually what happens is your success starts coming to you so quickly, and you start positioning yourself, and all the work that you've done in the past will continue adding up. And that addition of success will add to your momentum. The energy that you put out in the past will come to you, and then your success will no longer come in peaks and valleys and cycles, but it will come nonstop, even to a degree to where you don't know what to do or how to respond, because you've never been faced with that much opportunity before, because you've never been faced with that much money in your bank account. And then it's up to you to continue scaling and keeping that energy focused, not letting yourself take the foot off of the gas pedal. So guys, success comes to the person who sticks with it, the person who is not going to listen to the outward influences and their parents or their friends or their family members saying that you can't do this, you're not seeing success, where's the money? The people who are going to be the winners are the ones who listen to their gut and who don't let their little, inner, devil voice on the shoulder say, give up, throw in the towel, because then you're going to look back and be like, man, I was literally inches away from momentum. And that's when you would take a step back also and see that somebody was one day away from messaging you. And then you're going to start asking yourself, what if, rather than I'm glad I did. Food for thought. That's something to think about. So stick with it. Now, there are times and moments to where maybe you're doing something, you realize that you're not happy with it. And I'm not saying happy in a cheesy sense of, man, I'm not happy, but I'm saying more so in a genuine understanding that that this will not work, that there's something else that you should be doing. Then maybe that's when you need to have the hard conversation, but never throw in the towel because it's simply not working. Throw in the towel if you know that there's something else that will, be better for you. But I want to leave you with this one quote that I learned from, it was the head coach of the Clemson college football team, and he was being interviewed on the Ed Milet show, and he said that the grass is greener, or the grass is greenest where you are watering it. So wherever you water, the grass will grow and look better. Much love, and be on the lookout for a brand new episode every single Monday and interviews with awesome individuals every single Friday. I would love to learn your thoughts. Shoot me a message. Leave a review, rate, review, and subscribe, right? To sound like that stereotype, but no, I really do appreciate you listening, and I would love to get your thoughts, comments, and if you have another topic that you might want me to cover, shoot me a message, send me an email. I want to hear from you.